Pharrell, has worked with Adele, has worked with Amy Winehouse, and has worked with Lady Gaga on Shallow for A Star Is Born. The song won at the Golden Globes, and this morning it is nominated for an Oscar, and he just tweets, "Hey," with a bunch of kisses for his fellow co-writers. They were so emotional at the Globes. I'm very hopeful Shallow wins Best Song at the Oscars because we're going to get another emotional moment from Gaga. Next up, Tony Bennett congratulating his collaborator Lady Gaga on her Oscar nomination via social media. He says, "Dear Lady, I always knew you could do anything at the highest level of artistry. Congratulations on your Oscar nominations. Love, Tony." Always so eloquent. And we can't wait to see more. So we were going to bring you guys more social reactions coming through from the Oscar nominations.
I want you to be my VP. I want you. You're my vice.
Well, George, I'm the CEO of a large company. And I have been Secretary of Defense. And I have been White House Chief of Staff. The Vice Presidency is a mostly symbolic job.
That is the Oscar-nominated movie Vice, and its star Christian Bale looking. So we are talking through it all. How much does a transformation matter? Of course, this is not Christian's first. Remember him in The Fighter? He lost weight for that part. The Big Short. He often transforms himself, and he won Best Supporting Actor in 2011 for portraying real-life American boxer Dickie Eklund in The Fighter. Got nominated for Best Supporting Actor in 2014 for American Hustle and in 2016 for The Big Short. How much does it affect his chances? Christian's only Oscar win so far for his transformative role in The Fighter. Let's talk it through now with Perry Nemiroff of Collider. Perry, so Christian up for Dick Cheney, and I believe Sam Rockwell up for playing George W. as well. Not as much of a transformation, but that's kind of the question, because what gets acclaimed quite a lot is not just the acting, but, how they became that part, how they transformed. What do you think? If we had to ask it overall, does drastically changing your appearance affect your ability to get that Oscar nom and to even win?
I don't think it's a situation where we can say a firm yes or no, but thinking about how we talk about these kinds of movies throughout the year, especially when a movie is announced and certain packaging comes to light in terms of the talent attached and what the material is, there's a reason we say that something has Oscar potential even before the thing is made, seen, even before a trailer is shown to audiences. It's because these types of things do tend to pave the way to an Oscar nomination, and a transformative role is definitely one of them. You brought up before Nicole Kidman in Destroyer. I think that is part of her conversation as well.
Of course. I mean, that's the thing, is it becomes not just your acting, but then we add in that word transforming. And, when we kind of look at the way that the Academy has acknowledged some of these parts, Gary Oldman playing Winston Churchill in Darkest Hour, he won Best Actor just last year. And she gained weight, too, gained about 30 pounds for this part. So I think it's something that makes a role more unforgettable. I will say that, because you know this actor or actress, you've seen them in all these parts, and then you remember that time when they totally didn't look like the person you knew.
It's a challenge. I mean, we're talking about some of the most famous faces out there, too, so even if they're great performers, it's still not easy to shed that kind of stardom. So when they're able to achieve that, I mean, it's more than just saying, it's a great transformative performance. It's really well earned. And with all the people that we've already brought up, it's not even just about the incredible makeup and prosthetic work that go into transforming them. It's also the way they carry themselves, how they speak.
Completely.
Because Christian Bale is still phenomenal all on his own in that movie.
Well, and when you think, too, as well about, like, the effort, the emotion, the exhaustion that goes into hundreds of hours in a makeup chair, into having to gain weight, putting your body through a lot, and then bringing that energy and that talent on screen when the camera goes on, they're putting themselves through quite a bit to earn a potential statue. We've got to talk Dallas Buyers Club. Jared Leto and Matthew McConaughey, both really transforming for these parts. Jared Leto won Best Performance in a supporting role for playing a transgender character. Matthew McConaughey won Best Actor in a leading role for playing the real-life Ron Woodruff. He lost almost 50 pounds for this part. I mean, this was, of course, the story of how HIV was affecting the community at this time, everything that real people were going through. It was dark, it was horrific, as it should have been to really tell that story, but he was down to about 135 pounds. And when you think of Matthew McConaughey, this big, strong guy, it was wild to see at the time.
Whenever they lose weight or gain weight, I feel like it always stresses me out because can you think about doing that? Because it's not just on set. It's not just sitting in the makeup chair and getting that work done. It's something that completely changes their lifestyle well beyond their work. And that to me is just, I mean, it's an incredible thing to completely give yourself over to any role. But when it bleeds into everyday life like that, it's kind of wild.
Well, and as you said, like, look, of course, Matthew McConaughey, a great actor, Christian Bale doing amazingly in Vice. But I do think that when people are voting, you can't put an exact measure on it, but there has to be a factor of, I can't forget how they looked. Oh, my God, I have an emotional reaction to how they changed for that part. And I think that can certainly affect getting a nomination.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I just kind of picture my own thinking process when I'm voting in the groups that I'm a part of. And I mean, everything comes into play. Just simply put, my emotional reaction to a particular movie, a particular performance, but then all of a sudden making that checklist of all the things that are needed to achieve a great performance in that particular role. And this all comes into play. And one of the things I find interesting about the transformation and how it connects to an Oscar potential role is it doesn't seem like we're that far off from including things like motion capture in this category as well, because right before I had spoken to Christian Bale about Vice, I had spoken to him about Mowgli. And admittedly, Mowgli is nowhere near comparable to a movie like Vice, but that was his first time doing something like motion capture. And last year with War for the Planet of the Apes, we were busy talking about Andy Serkis maybe getting a Best Actor nomination.
Didn't end up happening.
Really, it's a transformative experience for an actor where other people are involved in making them completely shed their look. And it seems like a very similar type of conversation to me. So I think in the very near future, we're going to be saying transformative in terms of makeup and prosthetics and also motion capture and visual effects.
Interesting. The technology of it all. I mean, because when they're doing that motion capture, they still are completely playing that part physically, mentally with their voice, but we're just not seeing Andy Serkis on the screen. We're seeing the ape. Let's talk Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. If you remember Rooney Mara in this 2011 movie, she was Lisbeth Salander, and she got piercings. Got her nipples pierced, her eyebrows pierced, eyebrows bleached, cut the hair. So you want to talk transformation? Girl got a couple piercings for the role.
Kind of goes back to what I was saying about doing things that also bleed into your everyday life, too. And that's most certainly what she did here, just jumping right into it. And also, when you think about certain characters, it's not even just about the physical transformation. It's also about the headspace, too. Yeah. Getting into the headspace of some of these individuals that could be tougher to play. And, we haven't even brought up Rami Malek, too. Rami Malek's performance in Bohemian Rhapsody is yet another transformative one where the hair and makeup team on that movie did one heck of a job with him there.
Oh, he wore the teeth because Freddie Mercury had more teeth and he had this big mouth that opened up and let him sing. Also kind of seeing him transform through the years as Freddie Mercury in that character. The hair changed, the facial hair changed, the physicality of the way that he studied Freddie Mercury's movements to move and perform exactly like him. Also want to talk about another real life role because and so often it's also interesting to me too to look at the difference of maybe the challenge of transforming into someone people know versus a character. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, a character. I, Tonya, Allison Janney playing Tanya Harding's real-life mom and being up, in Best Actress just last year. She won for Best Supporting Actress, I'm sorry, but Margot Robbie also nominated. So these were real-life, real people that we all knew for controversial reasons, but man, oh man, did she nail it.
That definitely adds another layer to this conversation, and, it comes to mind with someone like Rami Malek and also with Christian Bale as well. It's one thing to play a character in a movie. It's another to Bale and Malek got these nominations today.
Well, and the thing is, if you get it wrong, people can call you out on getting it wrong because they know. I mean, you can go look up, and I know so many people have done it since Bohemian Rhapsody came out. You can go watch Queen's entire Live Aid performance from decades ago on YouTube. So people go and they watch and they think, yes, he studied it, he nailed it. And if he hadn't, we'd be doing a side-by-side right now of how he didn't nail it, you know, and we'd be saying, oh no, he wasn't Freddie Mercury as we knew and loved him. So there's a lot of pressure with that. And then that pressure, you know, does it get rewarded by the Academy? That's the question. This is interesting to talk about. The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Brad Pitt, nominated for Best Actor in 2009. I believe this is his only Oscar nomination, at least in the acting category. So Brad Pitt, this A-lister we all know and love, an incredible actor, but the only time he's getting that recognition from the Academy was when he did this transformative role.
See, I feel like this particular example also serves my motion capture argument pretty well, too, because we often see people nominated and films nominated that try something different and new and something that could pave the way to major differences in the industry overall. And I think this is a great example of a combination of both things where he took he took a character through an absolutely incredible transformation over the course of one film. And when we're thinking about motion capture, I know one of the arguments is that, the visual effects artists are incorporating their own work into the performance too. It's not just the actor. I think the same thing is true really for all of these, obviously to different extents and in different ways, but these are examples of so many creative people coming together. And today is a day where we get to honor, let's say, a Best Actress or Best Actor nominee for their particular work in a movie. But overall, making a movie is such a team effort. I cannot encourage people more to sit through the credits because you just see hundreds, if not thousands of names, especially on a big movie like Black Panther, where every single person played a part in making that movie. And if one person wasn't having their A game during the course of that production, who knows where that movie would have wound up.
And you know what I like, and as sometimes it can be a little bit of an, I'm tuning out moment for audiences at home when in those speeches, the actors and actresses do thank their hair, their makeup, their prosthetics, their technology teams. But the thing is, those people don't get the spotlight on them. And you know, I do love when they acknowledge, hey, this was 1 million people that went into this role.
It's so true.
Perry Nemiroff of Collider, thank you for chatting through this with me. Guys, we are talking Oscar nominations, so many snubs, surprises, exciting, devastating moments to discuss. ET Live will be right back.